Hey there. I need you to picture this exact moment. I'm standing in my living room in Stonebridge. It's Saturday night, and the air smells like my famous mac and cheese. My son Dion brought his new fiancée home for dinner, finally, after 6 months of excuses. I'm adjusting my pearls, ready to embrace my future daughter-in-law, when I look her square in the face, and I freeze. This woman, this beautiful, polished woman smiling at me, is the last person on earth I ever expected to see. 10 years ago, she stood over my hospital bed and told me I was wasting my time. She looked at my broken body after my car accident and said, in a voice cold as ice, "Miss Simmons, you will never walk again. Accept your reality." I had to grip the counter to stay upright. But here's what she didn't know. I not only proved her wrong, I kept receipts. And when I realized she latched onto my son like a parasite, I knew exactly what I had to do. This is the story of how my son's fiancée turned out to be my worst nightmare, and how I gave them both a lesson in consequences they'll never forget. Let me take you back 10 years. Northside Medical Center, room 312. I'd been in a bad car accident. My spine was crushed, couldn't feel anything below my waist. I was in physical therapy every day, trying to wiggle just one toe, sweating, straining, praying. Nurse Shauna Holland walked in one afternoon, young, starched uniform, face like stone. I was crying from the pain of trying to move my leg even an inch. She sighed, this big, dramatic, annoyed sigh, and said, "Miss Simmons, we've done the scans. You're fighting biology. Save your money for a wheelchair-accessible home, not false hope." Then she leaned in closer. "You will never walk again." She said it like she was telling me the weather. That moment broke something in me, but it also lit a fire. I spent 4 years in physical therapy, 4 years of pain that would make grown men weep. But I did it. I walked again. I still needed a cane sometimes, but I walked. I got my life back, but I never forgot that nurse's face or the cruelty in her voice. Back to my kitchen. I recovered from the shock, fast. 10 years of rebuilding yourself teaches you how to wear a mask. I smiled. I hugged her. "Shauna, it's so lovely to finally meet you." She looked at me closely, head tilted. "Ms. Simmons, you look so familiar. Did you ever spend time at Northside Medical? I worked in neurology for years." She was fishing, testing me. I laughed lightly. "Oh, honey, I've seen so many doctors over the years. Maybe." Dion jumped in oblivious. "Mom, Shauna's incredible. She manages my whole life, my budget, my schedule. She even helped me find the apartment closer to her job." And that's when the second realization hit me. My son wasn't just dating this woman. He was dependent on her. Over the next 2 weeks, I watched them closely, and what I saw made my blood run cold. Dion had been asking me for money for 2 years. Rent, car payments, business investments. I'd been covering his rent on his apartment at Grand Oaks, a property my late husband left me. But now, Shauna was the one calling me about money. Not Dion. Shauna. "Ms. Simmons, just confirming the rent transfer for the first. Dion's so busy with his startup." Then came the engagement party expenses. We found the perfect venue, the Blue Diamond Club. It's $8,000 for catering alone. But don't worry, we just need help with the balance. They weren't planning a future based on their income. They were planning it based on my bank account. I stared at her text message, remembering that hospital room, and I whispered to myself, "You want a wedding, baby girl? I'll give you a show you'll never forget." First, I needed answers. I called my private investigator, Mr. Jenkins. "I need everything on Shauna Holland, employment history, finances, everything." The report came back fast. Shauna wasn't just a nurse. She'd been fired from Northside Medical for falsifying patient records, but kept her license by moving to a different state. But here's the part that made my stomach turn. Mr. Jenkins found 3 other cases, elderly patients who'd reported financial exploitation by someone matching her description. None of the cases went anywhere due to lack of evidence. Then I pulled my own medical records from storage. Shauna had been assigned to my case, and on the exact date she told me I'd never walk again, The medical notes documented a severe relapse in patient morale and participation. She hadn't just crushed my spirit. She documented my collapse like it was proof she'd been right. I called my financial advisor, Mr. Hayes. I need a full accounting of everything I've paid for Dion in the last 3 years. The number came back, $47,000. Rent, insurance, car payments, co-sign loans. Then I told him, cancel everything, every automatic payment, every co-signed agreement, and draft an eviction notice for the Grand Oaks apartment. They have 30 days. Mr. Hayes hesitated. Miss Simmons? They'll have nowhere to go. I didn't hesitate. They should have thought of that before treating me like an ATM. The fallout was immediate. My phone blew up. Text from Dion. Mom, what's going on? The car payment bounced. I didn't respond. 2 days later, they showed up at my door. I watched them on my security camera. Shauna pacing, Dion slamming his car door. I opened the door and stood tall, cane in hand. Dion, Shauna. This is unexpected. Dion rushed forward, face red. Mom! The bank is calling. The landlord sent an eviction notice. What's going on? Shauna stepped in, voice dripping with fake concern. Miss Simmons, honey, we're worried about you. This kind of erratic behavior isn't normal. Are you forgetting to pay bills? Maybe the stress of losing your husband. I cut her off. Shauna, you're worried about my judgment? That's rich, coming from the woman who told me 10 years ago I'd never walk again. Her face went white. I don't know what you're talking about. I saw hundreds of patients. I stepped closer. North Side Medical, room 312. You told me I was wasting my time, that I should accept my reality? Dayon looked between us, confused. Mom, what is she talking about? I walked to my desk, slowly, deliberately, without the cane, and picked up 2 folders. Dion, you asked what's wrong with me. What's wrong is that I've been funding your fiancé's lifestyle while she treats me like a wallet. Shauna's voice went shrill. That's not true. I love Dion. We're getting married. Really? I slid the first folder across the table. That apartment you're so proud of, Dion? I own the building. Through a holding company. Here's the deed. Dayon's hand shook as he read. I slid the second envelope across. And this is your 30-day eviction notice. Shauna screamed, You can't do this. We put down deposits. You promised to help with the wedding. I also canceled the catering guarantee 2 days ago. Shauna's legs gave out. She collapsed onto my sofa. You knew who I was this whole time. I recognized you the moment you walked in. I just needed to see if you were the same cruel person who tried to break me 10 years ago. I paused. Turns out, you're worse, because now you're using my son to get to my money. Dayon finally spoke, his voice shaking. Mom, please, don't do this. I love her. We can fix this. I walked closer to him, looking into the eyes of the boy I raised alone. Dion, you're not in love. You're being used, and you let yourself be used because it was easier than standing on your own 2 feet. I turned to Shauna. As for you, Mr. Jenkins compiled a full report on your employment history. It's been sent to the State Board of Nursing and to 3 attorneys representing your former patients. You'll want to lawyer up, but you'll have to pay for it yourself. Shauna launched herself off the couch, screaming, You bitter old woman, you'll die alone. I stood firm. Get out of my house, both of you. Dion grabbed Shauna, pulling her toward the door. As they reached the threshold, Shauna turned back, tears streaming. When you're old and helpless, don't come crying to us. I looked at her, then down at the cane in my hand. I tossed it into the corner. I'm already alone, Shauna. The difference is, now it's by choice, and I don't need the cane anymore. I closed the door. The next few weeks were hard, but freeing. Shauna's nursing license was suspended pending investigation. Her reputation was destroyed. Dion and Shauna moved into a cramped rental across town. They tried legal threats, all of which collapsed under the weight of Mr. Jenkins' evidence. I won't lie, I missed my son, but I didn't miss the entitled man he'd become. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I set up a trust fund in his name. But there were conditions: 6 months of financial counseling and 1 full year of steady employment without my help. It's a safety net, but one he has to earn. 3 months ago, I sold the Grand Oaks building. With the profits, I started the Stonebridge Independence Fund, a nonprofit helping seniors escape financial abuse by family members and caregivers. I travel now. I walk on beaches. I hike mountain trails. And sometimes, when I'm standing on a summit looking down at the world, I remember Shauna's words, "You will never walk again." And I smile. Because real freedom isn't about walking without a cane. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to let anyone take it from you. And tell me in the comments, what would you have done the moment she walked through that door?